Kim Kardashian is a billionaire
All right, so now we're in my backyard.
who has recently made headlines for her many lawsuits.
And shockingly, 4 kids hasn't messed up my cream house.
One being by an esthetician with a small business over trademark infringement. Another from Kim's former domestic staff who claimed they were unpaid and not given their legal breaks.
It seems like nobody wants to work these days.
And even more allegations were made by Kim's former app developer who worked overtime but was only paid $600 a week, and after being voted Employee of the Week, was given a free sample of skincare by Kim.
I put out my 3 faves. It has like the cutest little crystal lady, and I just think that's so unique.
But today, we're going back into the past to the early 2000s, before Kardashian was a brand name. A time when Kim was not famous, was not a billionaire, and worked as a personal stylist to a successful young singer named Brandy Norwood, before taking advantage of Brandy's entire family and allegedly stealing more than $120,000 to boost her career. From scams to skims, this is a story of success, friendship, betrayal, and a family who will do anything and step on anyone to be in the spotlight. This is the story of how Kim Kardashian defrauded Disney's first black princess and her family.
I know, right?
Before we begin, I want to thank Scentbird for sponsoring today's video. I am a big fan of designer perfumes, but not a fan of designer prices. Gardenia is one of my favorite fragrance notes, and I love to smell good because who doesn't? Scentbird is reimagining everything about how people discover, shop for, purchase, and even experience fragrances. Scentbird lets you choose a new designer fragrance to try every single month for just $17. One of my favorite things about Scentbird is that each month you get to pick what you want to receive, so there are no surprises. In my favorite month of October, I received from Scentbird Burberry's Brit Sheer, Confessions of a Rebel's Bitch Please, and Versace's Bright Crystal Absolute. Without a doubt, Confessions of a Rebel was my absolute favorite. It's a unisex fragrance, and I loved the notes of jasmine and sandalwood in it. Scentbird has perfumes, colognes, and a lot of unisex options too. With each fragrance, you'll get a 30-day supply so you can try out the fragrances before you decide to commit to a full-size bottle. A bottle that can cost over $150, and some are even $300 to $500. Scentbird has over 600 brands to choose from, including Prada, Gucci, Versace, as well as indie labels like Skylar, Heretic, and Confessions of a Rebel. Scentbird's packaging is also sleek and travel-friendly. I personally love receiving new scents each month and getting to play around with some I may have never tried if it wasn't for Scentbird. Use my coupon code for 55% off from Scentbird, and it's available in the US and Canada. Thank you so much to Scentbird for sponsoring this video. I am a big fan of this product and I truly appreciate the support. Be sure to check out the links below. To fully understand what went down between Kim Kardashian and Brandy Norwood, we need to first talk about Brandy's mother, Sonia Norwood. Sonia is a highly successful artist manager, consultant, and entrepreneur. Growing up in Mississippi, Sonia graduated from Higgins High School before obtaining a BS degree in liberal studies with an emphasis in psychology from Southern University, a prominent HBCU in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. For the next 11 years, Sonia worked at H&R Block, a tax preparation service company. During this time, Sonia advanced her career from working as a tax preparer for 2 years to a district manager of 18 offices in the South Bay of Southern California. This achievement made Sonia one of the few Black women given this rank. Sonia was highly ambitious and could have eventually become a regional director with H&R Block, but to her surprise, the trajectory of Sonia's life as well as her career would take a wildly different turn. On September 3rd of 1976, Sonia married gospel singer Willie Norwood. Here's a short clip of Willie singing in church from 2013. Less than 3 years later, on February 11th of 1979, the pair welcomed their first child, a daughter, Brandy Norwood. Brandy's brother Ray J was born on January 17th of 1981. The siblings were raised in a Christian household, and thanks to their father being the minister of music at a local church in Macomb, Mississippi, Brandy and Ray J's interest in music bloomed early. Brandy was just 2 years old when she performed her first gospel solo. While Sonia and Willie didn't know it yet, their daughter was taking her very first steps towards a career in entertainment. However, when the Norwoods moved to Los Angeles in 1983 after Willie was offered the position of the minister of music in the city, the children's careers were not yet the first thing in mind. As Sonia explained, quote, "The thought of our children getting into the industry wasn't on our minds. Brandy was 4 and Ray J was 2 when we moved. We were just a family moving for better opportunities, supporting my husband, serving God, and living life." End quote. The family settled in Carson, California, and Brandy eventually began her studies at Hollywood High Performing Arts Center. According to Brandy herself, in addition to watching her father sing, what really made her want to be in the spotlight was listening to Whitney Houston. Brandy was just 7 years old when Whitney first caught her eye, and Whitney left little Brandy in awe with her beauty and vocals. Right then and there, Brandy informed her parents she wanted to be just like Whitney Houston, and Sonia and Willie fully supported her. They didn't tell Brandy she should wait until she was 18, but instead encouraged her to pursue her dream. Brandy's teachers at Hollywood High Performing Arts Center, however, were less helpful and failed to send her to auditions. But without letting this discourage her, while other kids hung out at movies or malls, Brandy began entering talent shows and performing in showcases at the age of 11. Eventually, Brandy's persistence was rewarded. In 1990, at only age 11, Brandy began working as a backing vocalist for Teaspoon Productions for their R&B boy band, Immature. But her first breakthrough happened 3 years later when the Norwoods organized a record deal with Atlantic Recording Corporation for her self-titled debut album, Brandy. It was at this point that Sonia knew she needed to resign from her corporate job and become Brandy's manager, or as some might say, momager. While Sonia didn't have any idea what the music industry was like, she knew she needed to protect her children. Sonia didn't want to just hand her child over to strangers and let them make decisions that could affect their careers or personal lives. Sonia said, quote, "I worked at H&R Block for 11 years, and I felt confident with my Block experience I could learn the entertainment industry, and my children would still be grounded. I was quickly labeled as a momager. It was trial and error for me, lots of study and research because few to none lent a helping hand. I had no idea what I would face, and looking back, if I knew half of what I know now, I would have been terrified." End quote. Sonia's decision was influenced by the fact that just like his big sister, her son Ray J had also already broken into the entertainment industry. Ray J began appearing in television commercials in 1989 and played the foster son in The Sinbad Show from 1993 to 1994, before being signed to Elektra Records in 1995. It was a natural choice for Sonia to begin personally looking after the careers of her children, even though it meant using most of her free time to study the music business. Sonia read through several books about the industry and sat down with entertainment attorney Dana Cook to learn how to negotiate contracts. Sonia wanted to ensure she would never be ill-prepared to speak with fellow managers, lawyers, or executives. Sonia said, quote, "I did a lot of studying. Not only in books, but of every person I encountered along the way in the business as it affected my kids. I got really good at redlining contracts. I was never ill-prepared to discuss a contract with a fellow manager, a lawyer, or executive. I learned that you can't blame anyone for drawing up a contract that is in their best interest. You have to counter-propose in order for all contracts to be more favorable to both parties, or walk away." End quote. Meanwhile, Brandy's debut album was released in September 1994 and did incredibly well, producing 3 top 10 hits and selling over 6 million copies worldwide. Brandy also received 2 Grammy Award nominations and in 1995 won 4 Soul Train Music Awards and 2 Billboard Awards. By now, the teenager had dropped out of school and continued her studies at home with a tutor to focus fully on her career. Following the success of her debut album, Brandy opened for Boyz II Men on their national tour and also sang on the soundtracks for Waiting to Exhale, starring Angela Bassett and Whitney Houston, and Batman Forever, starring Val Kilmer and Jim Carrey. In 1996, Brandy starred in the UPN-produced sitcom Moesha, appearing alongside William Allen Young and Cheryl Lee Ralph. The show was a great success, and Brandy was awarded an NAACP Image Award for Outstanding Youth Actress for her performance. Soon after, one of Brandy's most iconic career milestones would take place. In 1957, a special CBS presentation aired on TV, a first of its kind. It broke records for garnering the largest amount of viewers for a TV audience at that time, with over 107 million people tuning in to watch Rodgers and Hammerstein's musical Cinderella. Julie Andrews played Cinderella, and the TV film, which had been adapted from Broadway, was a major hit. Fast forward to 1997, and Walt Disney Television was ready to produce the 3rd televised version of Rodgers and Hammerstein's 1957 Cinderella musical. Cinderella was originally planned for Whitney Houston. But after a while, Whitney had to turn down the role due to other commitments. Later, the idea was revisited, but a 33-year-old Whitney Houston said she was not quite feeling like Cinderella anymore after becoming a wife and mother, as her daughter was 4 years old at the time. But Whitney agreed to act as executive producer and play the less demanding role of the fairy godmother. And just like Kevin Costner handpicked Whitney Houston for the movie The Bodyguard in 1992, it was Whitney who handpicked the person she wanted to play Cinderella, a promising young woman she met in 1995 during rehearsals at the Kids' Choice Awards, Brandy Norwood.
I wanted to do this for a living. I wanted to be like Whitney Houston.
She has often called me her mentor, which is flattering.
Since the day Brandy first met her idol, the person who inspired her to pursue a music career, she and Whitney had been friends. And despite the fact that Brandy still had relatively little experience in acting, Whitney saw potential in her. Brandy had that energy and wonder necessary for Cinderella in addition to her talented singing voice. And since they knew each other in real life, their chemistry on screen was unmatched. You could say Whitney had already been Brandy's fairy godmother for 2 years since she had become Brandy's mentor. So, thanks to the superstar, Brandy became the first Black actress to portray a Disney princess in a TV movie that made history with its diverse cast. Cinderella went on to break records, garnering 60 million views for Disney's network, Disney's highest ratings in 16 years at the time. It was also nominated for 7 Primetime Emmy Awards and eventually became known as a groundbreaking classic that showed the world that fairy tales are for everyone. At the time of filming, Brandy herself didn't even realize how she and her co-stars would impact pop culture, as she said, quote, "I didn't really understand what was going on. I couldn't really grasp the history. I didn't really know that it was going to be historic in the way that it was, and that it was going to have such an impact and be so revolutionary. But I did know that something special and magical was happening. I was just so happy to be around my childhood idols and really work with them and learn from them. I was over the moon about it." End quote. Brandy added that one of her fondest memories was recording in the studio with Whitney after spending her whole life trying to meet her. By giving Brandy the role of Cinderella, Whitney had a huge impact on Brandy's life and opened doors the young woman couldn't have even imagined. After Cinderella, Brandy released her second album, Never Say Never, in 1998. The song "The Boy Is Mine" became her first #1 song on the US Billboard Hot 100. During the following 5 years, Brandy released 2 more albums, finished the TV show Moesha, and became pregnant with her daughter. The pregnancy was documented in 2002 in the MTV series Diary Presents Brandy: Special Delivery. With Brandy's continuously growing success came the need for helping hands. And what could have been a better idea than hiring her close friend, Kim? Had Brandy known what Kim had in store for the Norwood family, she might have never hired Kim, and Kim Kardashian might not be the celebrity we know her as today.
My lonely days are over, and life is like a song. Whoa, yeah.
Back in the early 2000s, the life of Kim Kardashian was quite different from what we are used to seeing today. She worked at a local clothing store called Body in Encino, California from 1996 until 2000, when at the age of 20, she married her first husband, Damon Thomas. Around 2003, Kim became a personal stylist and closet organizer for Brandy Norwood, among other celebrities. It's believed that Kim first got to know Brandy through her brother Ray J, who Kim had just started dating after her marriage ended. Kim and Brandy became good friends, such good friends that Kim called Brandy her best friend. The two often spent their time shopping in LA, and Brandy trusted Kim's opinion when it came to fashion. Eventually, Brandy officially hired her friend as her stylist and closet organizer through her record company. This meant Kim would clean Brandy's closet, take everything she didn't want to keep, and sell it on eBay. In addition, Kim followed Brandy basically everywhere, including her 3-week promotional tour in Europe, as Brandy, the singer and actress, had many wardrobe changes and red carpets to walk. Brandy and Kim also attended a number of other events and fashion shows together. It seemed like Brandy really enjoyed having her close friend as her stylist and wanted her to be successful. Brandy even agreed to hire Kim's sister Chloe as her personal assistant, further strengthening the relationship between the two families. During this time, Kim also worked as a stylist and assistant for her childhood friend Paris Hilton. Paris, the great-granddaughter of Conrad Hilton who founded Hilton Hotels, was having her big TV breakthrough when she starred with Nicole Richie in the Fox reality series The Simple Life, and Kim was there to witness it all. Most importantly, Kim saw the effects of Paris's intimate private tape with poker player Rick Salomon that leaked shortly before the show's premiere in December of 2003. In the blink of an eye, Paris Hilton's name was on everyone's lips, which only boosted her career as the first episode of The Simple Life attracted 13 million viewers. Surprisingly, or unsurprisingly, Kim found herself in the exact same situation just a few years later. On March 21st of 2007, Vivid Entertainment released a film called Kim Kardashian Superstar. The homemade movie features Kim and Ray J in a luxury Esperanza resort in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, during their holiday back in 2002, engaging in intimate activities. According to Vivid Entertainment, they purchased the film for $1 million from a third party. However, since its release, people have questioned the real motives behind the leak. At the time, Kim herself firmly denied having anything to do with the matter. Kim sued Vivid Entertainment for ownership of the tape, but dropped the suit after coming to an agreement with the company. At the time, Kim commented on the situation by saying, quote, "I have so much going on in my life. I never wanted anyone to think of me as Kim Kardashian's sex tape star. I still have to live with the embarrassment and fear that one day my grandkids are going to see it." End quote. Yet, no one missed the tape's release, suspiciously happening only 6 months before the first season of Keeping Up with the Kardashians premiered in October of 2007. Kim and her family, especially her mother and manager Chris, in addition to Ray J, were accused of leaking the tape on purpose to promote the show. It's true that Keeping Up with the Kardashians was an instant success that eventually led to the creation of an empire. One could say Kim turned that tape into an incredibly profitable business. But did she secretly plan everything? Or did she turn lemons into lemonade? While the whole ordeal was still fresh and rumors about who actually leaked the tape were circulating, another scandal hit the Kardashian clan. In 2008, Brandy's mother Sonia suddenly sued Kim, Khloe, Kourtney, Robert Jr. Kardashian, and their clothing businesses Dash and Smooch. Brandy and Brandy Norwood accused Kim and her siblings of spending over $120,000 on unauthorized charges on the credit card of her management company, Norwood & Norwood Inc. According to the lawsuit, due to her position as Brandy's stylist, Kim had been authorized to make one purchase for Brandy with the Norwood's American Express card back in 2004. But she allegedly continued to use the card without the Norwood's consent. Then, Kim allegedly shared the credit card information with her siblings. Brandy Norwood claimed the Kardashians spent up to $62,000 in 2006 and $57,000 in 2007. To make things worse, by this time, Kim and Ray J had broken up, and Kim and Brandy had apparently already ended their business relationship, so Kim had no justification for her use of Norwood & Norwood Inc.'s Amex card. Worse, the purchases that were made were bulk orders for Kardashian's boutique Dash in Calabasas, California, which was eventually franchised and remained open until 2018. The Kardashians were using Kim's former employer's and best friend's credit card to further their own business endeavors. But despite the shocking betrayal, the Norwoods tried to manage the situation as tactfully as possible. As Sonia explained, quote, "I did not want to commence litigation against the Kardashian family without conducting an exhaustive investigation into the charges and discussing all options, including criminal prosecution, with my family. After Ray J and Brandy urged me not to file criminal charges because of their prior friendship, I decided to afford the Kardashians an opportunity to resolve the matter without a lawsuit. When the fraudulent charges were brought to their attention, they apologized profusely and advised us through their attorneys that they would pay the debt in full. However, they have since reneged on that promise. The investigation has revealed that the Kardashians used their 2 stores and other stores that I have never visited to take advantage of me. I very much look forward to having the Kardashians account for their misconduct in a court of law. I also welcome the examination of any so-called evidence to determine whether it was fraudulently obtained or whether it constitutes a forgery." End quote. Due to the Kardashians ultimately refusing to pay, Sonia filed a civil lawsuit for $120,000 and 10% annual interest. Afterward, Kim and her family released a statement stating that the charges against them were meritless. The statement, published by TMZ, read, quote, Both Kim and Khloe were employed by the Norwoods and never used their credit cards without their express authorization. The Kardashian family looks forward to proving the absurdity of these claims in a court of law." End quote. However, the case never saw trial. In June of 2009, the suit was dismissed with prejudice, meaning the matter cannot be appealed or refiled ever again. This kind of decision can be a result of the case being settled outside of court, and the public has no way of knowing what was agreed upon between the parties in the settlement, unless one of them talks. It has been speculated, however, that Kim used the money she got from her leaked tape to pay a hefty amount to Sonia and Brandy to make the lawsuit disappear, as the Kardashians didn't need another scandal to mess with their plans just when Keeping Up with the Kardashians was becoming a popular show. It's known that Kim was still speaking with Ray J during this time, which may have helped the families come to an agreement. In the end, the lawsuit had little to no effect on the Kardashians. Their series still turned the questionable publicity into multi-million-dollar careers for Kim and her family. In spring of 2022, many people on social media reminded Kim of her alleged credit card fraud when the day after International Women's Day, Kim told Variety that she had the best advice for women in business because it seemed like nobody wanted to work anymore and that women needed to get their ass up and work.
One thing I've learned from Kim is how being generous with sharing posts or with your ideas, generous with helping people, it does come back to you. I think there's room for everyone. It's just I think the motto that we've always had.
My advice for women in business is you just have to do what you're actually passionate about, because if you don't have passion in it, it's not easy, regardless of how it looks. And I think people see things with instant gratification because of social media, that they think it just comes easy to people. It doesn't, especially if you want something long term.
I have the best advice for women in business. Get your fucking ass up and work. It seems like nobody wants to work these days.
That's so true.
You have to surround yourself with people that want to work. Have a good work environment where everyone loves what they do, because you have one life. No toxic work environments, and show up and do the work.
Kim went on to say, quote, "Because you see everything on social media and you think, oh, it's just the lifestyle and it's just really quick and easy, it's not easy. It's still a job and it's still really hard, and success is never easy. If you put in the work, you will see results. It's that simple." End quote. As simple as stealing $120,000 or falsely accusing an ex-boyfriend to boost your image.
I was just gonna handle this shit legally, right? And just hit you in court and just get what I'm deserved from all of y'all being foul and trying to defame me. You wanna play games with me? Okay, let's play. We going through receipts tonight, Chris. We going through receipts tonight, Kim.
For years, the Norwoods and the Kardashians continued their lives without colliding with each other. Then, 15 years after the release of Kim Kardashian Superstar, the tape made headlines again. First, when Kim and Kanye broke up and she began to date Pete Davidson, Kanye claimed he had a laptop in his possession that he had received from Ray J that contained some of the footage of his ex-wife. Then, as the new series, The Kardashians, premiered on Hulu, Kim all of a sudden brought up the subject she had not spoken almost anything about for years. Now she claimed that Ray J had unreleased footage from their time together that he was planning to leak. In the very first episode, the narrative goes that Kim's son Saint noticed a pop-up ad on Roblox with his mother's well-known crying face picture. To Kim's supposed horror, the ad also offered a new Kim Kardashian tape, although she told her lawyers she was 99.9% sure a second tape didn't exist. In the following episode, Kim talked about the issue with Kris and her sisters, saying that Ray J's manager supposedly has an intimate tape of them in Santa Barbara. Kim declared, quote, "For 20 years, this has been held over my head of this mistake, or is it a mistake? This was my boyfriend of years. We go on a trip, we film a video. It's embarrassing for that to be out there, but it's not the most scandalous thing, and I'm not going to be made to feel this way. I'm just human." She went on to say, I have all the time, all the money, and all the resources to burn this to the f***ing ground." End quote. The third episode even showed Kanye bringing the laptop to Kim, who together with her family members was crying in happiness. Clips of the episode soon went viral and found Ray J, who commented on Instagram saying Kim was lying. All these years, Ray J had been blacklisted in Hollywood and lost numerous career opportunities because of people thinking he was the one who leaked the original tape without consent. And now, it was happening all over again. This time, Ray J decided to fight back with full force. In early May, Ray J gave an interview to Daily Mail saying, quote, "I have never leaked a sex tape in my life. It's always been a deal and partnership between Kris Jenner and Kim and me, and we've always been partners since the beginning of things." End quote.
Well, celebrity sex tapes, they come in all different shapes and sizes, and they make their way to our office in many different ways. And I think what you see is that sometimes a tape will come to us and the person who's in it, the celebrity who's in it, will be upset about it, very upset about it. I think Kim is a perfect example. I mean, she went absolutely crazy.
Okay, so let's talk about the Kim Kardashian tape. Talk about the whole story about how you obtained it and what actually happened afterwards.
Well, it was brought to us by a third party. Felt like the proper paperwork that we needed was in place. That came along with it. Now, that ultimately wasn't the case, but we went out there and said, look, we feel comfortable releasing this movie. Ultimately, we were able to have a conversation with Kim after much back and forth and lots of legal stuff going on. But ultimately, she agreed to allow us to put out the tape. We paid her several $1 million. It was an amazing investment for us. And I think it worked out pretty good for her as well. But ultimately, yes, we need to get an agreement. I think what you see, the back and forth in the press, is what happens prior to that, when somehow a tape does leak or a tape is stolen and it does find its way to my desk. And then we sort of reach out and say, look, we'd like to put this out. And the reality is, you can decide not to do a deal with us, that's fine. We will walk away and have nothing to do with it. But the internet's a funny place, and these things seem to find their way out to the internet ultimately. So why don't you come along for the ride, make some money with it, and perhaps it can enhance your career.
So even though Ray J never was the one who gave the first tape to Vivid Entertainment, he was allegedly the one who came up with the plan. The inspiration came from Paris Hilton, whose career had skyrocketed after her tape scandal. Ray J decided to pitch the idea to Kim and then talk to Kris. According to Ray J, he never had copies of the footage, and Kim kept all the possible tapes under her bed inside a Nike shoebox. Ray J also admitted he gave Kanye the laptop, but stated the only material it contained was intimate photos and mini videos, as well as proof that he and Kim had maintained contact during the years. So when Ray J said Kim was lying on their show, he wasn't talking about him meeting Kanye, but the entire way the Kardashians became the moguls they are today. Ray J said, quote, "From the beginning of us putting this sex tape out, this has been the biggest lie in the industry in the history of entertainment. I felt suicidal because when you know something's real and it's true and you're watching a whole family create an empire from a lie they've created, it's heartbreaking and disrespectful to all the entertainers who have been honest and true to their craft." End quote. During his interview with Daily Mail, Ray J provided Instagram DMs between him and Kim. In those DMs, Ray J claims Kris controlled the entire tape deal, and he calls Kim out for what she implied on the show. While Kim didn't address the claims in her replies, she did apologize for the tasteless jokes. When Daily Mail reached out to Kim and Chris, neither had anything to say.
You got 400,000, just like I got 400,000. We signed the contract the same day. You got the same contract I got, except guess what? You rushed me to sign the contract because your mama was rushing me to sign it. So guess what you did? You signed my deliverables in your handwriting, right? Because you was rushing me. So you signed my deliverables. Kim Kardashian got her handwriting and her fingerprints all over my contract. When you look at the two, when you look at my signature and you look at her signature on my deliverables, that shit say sex tape number 1, sex tape number 2, and guess what? The third tape or the second they've been trying to play me on, that shit called Santa Barbara Sex. Her mama made us go shoot it for safety. She watched the motherfucker and said, hey, we're gonna go with the first one because the first one is better. It gives my daughter a better look than the second one that I made y'all go do. But you watched it and made a decision, and then you get on to whatever show you was on and take a lie detector test with a fraud.
Ray J has stated he didn't come out with the truth recently to benefit financially from the situation, but because he is now a father and doesn't want his daughter and son to think their father, quote, disrespects women and leaks footage of someone who didn't give permission. Ray J felt that Kim took things too far by mentioning the tape again in the first episode of her family's new Hulu series, as if she was again using it for her benefit. Meanwhile, Brandy Norwood has continued her career despite difficulties on the way, including a severe car crash back in 2006 and the untimely death of her idol and fairy godmother, Whitney Houston, in 2012. In June of 2022, Brandy announced her major label return after signing with Motown Records for her 8th studio album. In turn, after more than 2 decades of being a self-taught manager of both Brandy and Ray J, Sonia Norwood began offering online entertainment-centered workshops, webinars, and podcasts to teach up-and-coming entertainment hopefuls. And then there is Kim Kardashian, who started as Brandy's stylist and found her way to riches through alleged credit card fraud, salacious scandals, and reality TV. Today, Kim's net worth is $1.8 billion, and she is no longer just known for her past, but for her supposed achievements as a businesswoman. Nobody can deny that Kim and her family have built an empire like no other. That empire just has a very questionable foundation. Although Kim claims success is simple and comes only through hard work, it would appear that her success came from a lot of luck, privilege, and a talented family being taken advantage of by a family with none. This has been the story of how Kim Kardashian stole from Disney's first black princess and her family. If you are a fan of learning about scams, cults, and cautionary tales, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss an upload. Thank you for watching. My name is Josie, and I hope you come back for the next video.
Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high. Someday I wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles smell like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you find me.
Thank you so much to Scentbird for sponsoring this video. Be sure to check out the links below.